We got a guest in studio today, Blair Morgan. How you doing today, man? Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, then of course we got the regulars, myself, Sam, and sitting across from me, my little brother Box. Blair, I don't know if I told you we call him Box.
I was getting the gist of that.
Okay, yeah, that's.
Why do you always got to call me your little brher? I'm not like 14, dude.
You're right. You're right. No, you're right.
I'm almost a middle-aged man at this point, and you're like, oh, it's my little brother.
I don't know. You'll always be my little brother. That's
God
just,
damn.
okay. I'll try to start referring to you.
Everybody does that. Pete does that. Emmy does that. I don't get it.
Sorry. At least I don't walk up to you and like ruffle your hair or something like that.
I would probably murder you and not hang out with you.
Yeah. I get that. But Blair, you have your own business. Why don't you kind of tell us what exactly it is you do and just kind of the overall gist of your business?
Yeah, so I started out just detailing cars, doing basic stuff, and started wanting to grow and progress. So I started ceramic coating cars and got certified in that. And then took it a step farther and wanted to do PDR, which is paintless dent repair. So I went to school for 2 weeks for that. And then I added that to my business also. That
was something Box and I both worked in the auto body for years and years, and that was always something I was impressed by. Like the PDR guys would come to the shop and just pick out a dent. Like me, I'm just like, if you give me a freaking hammer and wallop away on this dent,
yeah,
sling some Bondo on it, and call it good. So I was always impressed by the preciseness, I guess, of the PDR guys. Was that? I mean, that's something that you're going to learn for a long time, but I mean, getting into it, was that something that was pretty difficult to learn?
I would say the first week of it was hard because you got to find your tool and find your panel. Like,
right
where you think you are, you're probably not even at, so it's hard to determine where you're actually at with your tool.
Right.
And then learning, how hard to push or where to push is extremely hard.
I bet. I could totally see that. It'd be hard to learn how to gauge. And so how do you do that? Like if you're behind a panel, do you just kind of, how do you know where you're at? Is there a way you can like press a little bit that shows you on the panel without denting the panel?
Yeah, so obviously you've probably seen them have their light or whatever while they're working,
right,
and you just slightly graze the panel with your tool, and it'll show like an indentation of where your tool's moving at, and that's when you know where you're at. Okay.
Yeah, I've always found that interesting. What system do you use for the ceramic coating?
I use System X as the brand.
Yeah, obviously I do Cerakoting, but Cerakote actually, they have a line of ceramic coating now, I guess, too.
Do they?
Yeah, I haven't obviously tried it out or anything, but that's something else they were getting into, which I found interesting. But anyway, lately this has kind of been on my brain. I've been watching just random ass movies lately, and I ran across some the other day I watched Fight Club again. Just a freaking awesome movie. It's actually one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. But then I mean, you guys know how it starts out. The guy is just have you've seen it? I assume.
Yeah.
The guy is just kind of like a drone going to his job every day, and that's what he refers to himself as, just a drone. Just because he's just in this rhythm, goes to work, slaves away for somebody else, comes home, and then buys shit, just consumer. He called them the consumerism or whatever. But then I got to thinking about it, and there's so many movies that start off exactly like that, like Fight Club. A few others that I thought about were Office Space. Have you seen Office Space?
I don't think so.
Dude, put that on your list of shit to watch. That is an absolute must watch. I love that freaking movie. Office Space is definitely one of those. Wanted, I don't know if you guys have seen that one with Angelina Jolie. That one is kind of, the guy starts off that way. Another one I thought of was kind of The Cable Guy. Have you seen The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
I think like that starts off that way. That guy, not the cable guy, but the guy that he's obsessed with is just kind of in a... Anyway, where I'm going with this is, like, that's such a norm in American society right now, is like you just go to a job that you hate and you put in your 9 to 5 and you get paid, and then you're essentially living for the weekend. You're living for that paycheck and living for the weekend, and essentially hate your life for, you know, the rest of your life. And to me, that just seems, I mean, I did it for a lot of years, but now that I'm on the other side of that, it just seems freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, is that something, I know that you started your business when you were pretty young, but is that something that you dealt with at all? I mean, did you have like a 9-to-5 job for a while, I assume?
Yeah. So like before college, I was working at Woodhouse dealership, you know.
Oh, okay.
I was their head detailer there, and I was their photographer. So I worked there, obviously, from like 1 to 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And then during my off time at college, I was working there every day. And then when I dropped out of college, I was working there every day.
Okay. So yeah, you know what it's like.
Yeah, I got pretty old pretty fast, and you know, I moved my way up into that company only to where I thought I could be, and then I was capped out.
Right.
Couldn't do anything more. So
yeah. And is that something that, like, I mean, one of the biggest things for me now is not so much the money aspect of it, but just like when you're done at the end of the day, you get, like, I call it just fulfillment a little bit, you know. Mm-hmm. You look back at what you accomplished that day in your own business, and like you get some fulfillment. But I don't talk very well. You'll figure that out during the course of the podcast. But is that something you ever got from your 9-to-5 job?
There was days where, you know, I felt I had accomplished a lot of stuff because I was a go-getter, so I was always doing stuff.
Right.
But there's also people that work everywhere that try just doing the bare minimum to get by, and it's tough working with people like that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing I had a lot of issues with, working for somebody else or for a business.
Right. Box, I think you probably identify with that.
No, not at all. I love working with people.
Did you work with guys that just did the bare ass? Is that? Yeah, I think I remember you talking about that shit.
That's like all my job was.
Right. Did you ever feel like that? Did you ever enjoy your job that much, or was it just like a 9-to-5 slave thing that you felt?
There may have been certain moments where I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty happy with my job," but then I'd go in the next day and be like, "Fuck, I don't like this."
Right.
Not a little bit.
Right. Yeah. The one thing I will say, though, the one thing I miss about a 9-to-5 job is the feeling you get at 5 o'clock, or especially 5 o'clock on a Friday, because you can check out and put all that shit in the back of your brain. You don't got to think about it again until Monday morning.
Yeah.
That was the freaking best, man.
A steady paycheck was nice, too.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That was pretty nice, too. Is those the only two things you miss about 9-to-5, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the part of my business where, like, I'm never worried about work. So, like, when I first started, it was a little scary knowing, you know, if I was always going to have work. But now I'm at the point where it's always there.
Right.
But I would say I miss a normal steady paycheck going into my account biweekly.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I mean, I maybe miss the guaranteed days off, but
yeah, that was nice too.
Yeah,
because I'm sure do you take Sundays completely off, or do you work a lot of times?
I mostly take Sundays off unless it's like some big job.
Right. Yeah. Good for you. I try to as well. I try to take Saturdays off, like at least the afternoons, but
yeah,
that don't always freaking work.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the other thing I do love about weekends is going into the shop on a Saturday or Sunday when you don't have like set stuff that you have to get done. You can just do the piddly shit around the shop that you want to do. And it's like the other day I was of course I work behind my building is behind my house. So, you know, I was out there in sweatpants and I just freaking love that. Yeah. I love that stuff, that part of it. But, so you were going to college. What were you going to college for?
Instrumentation and controls.
Would that be what,
that's what Adam does? Yeah.
How come you started going to school for that?
There was like a college fair deal, so I went to that, and they started talking about it, and the need for it was pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty like mechanically inclined, so you need to know your stuff, and there was a lot of troubleshooting with that, which I thought I would be able to do because it wouldn't be a repetitive thing to do every day,
right? Which
is something that I was really looking for not to be doing. It's something day in, day out, like a factory job.
Yeah.
So I looked into that, and I thought it would be fitting for me at the time. So I went to college for just over a year, and then that's when I decided it just wasn't for me.
So, okay. So did you, when you dropped out, did you like drop out right in the middle of school, or did you finish the year?
So I had technically my 1 year done, but they had a summer class, and I got halfway through the summer where they were transitioning into the second part of summer, and that's when I decided that I wanted to be done.
Okay. Yeah. I was kind of the same way when I went to school for auto mechanics to start off with, and I did a year of that, 2 years of that actually. And then I just kind of realized I don't love this, it's just not really. The biggest thing was like the newer cars anymore. Like I love the older shit. Like that was my jam. That's kind of why I got into it. But the newer stuff, shit, you know how it is. Everything's freaking jam packed in there. There's like 40 million things. If you need to change out like, a friggin' alternator or whatever, sometimes you got to take so much shit off and get your arms. I just didn't like that part of it.
Yeah.
So then I switched and actually went to auto body. But did you feel like when you were in high school, did you feel like going to college was something that you had to do? Like society was kind of telling you, well, this is just what you do now?
Society-wise and like how the school pushed for it, yeah. Like that was the only thing that you could do if you wanted to be successful.
Right.
And which I saw the other side of that, which obviously it wasn't true. But it's pretty sad that schools and parents don't push for like success in general. They just want to push for college, and that's how they think you're gonna be successful. And I don't think that's true at all.
I would 100% agree with that,
because there's not a school out there that's pushing for business owners or showing people how to run a business. There's none of that.
No. Even in high school, I think we had a business class. I don't think I took it.
Yeah, the business class was pretty much teaching you like finances, how to write a checkbook and balance a checkbook.
Had nothing to do with actually, running a business.
Yeah, none of that.
Right. And that's something too that pissed me off. I was in college for 3 years and I never, I guess I could have, seeked that out a little bit, but there was never a business class or that told me how to fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Like I remember getting started in business, like literally researching every single thing I had to do. I didn't know I had to have, this license and that license and do this and all this shit and file quarterly sales taxes and all this shit. Like I didn't have a clue because they didn't teach us any of that.
No,
that's kind of ridiculous.
It's pretty sad that like a business class is technically a finance class is how I saw it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Box, did you take any of those classes or anything?
God, no. I did the bare minimum in school, man.
When did you go to college right out of high school? No, you moved down to Kansas City with me, right?
Yeah, I made that mistake.
Hey, that was life experience, Box.
Yeah.
He moved in with me like the day he graduated. I was living in Kansas City, and the day he graduated, he left to go to Kansas City and live with me. And then you were going to go to JMAC community. Was it?
Yeah.
JMAC. Was it JMAC?
Yeah,
Is that what it was
go
called?
there for CAD.
Huh. Just think if you would have done that, how different your life would have been.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe you could have been just like Johnson.
I don't know. I think I would have ended up getting sick of that too.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
So
I would have still been working for somebody, and that's not what I'm about.
Right. Yeah. I was kind of always that same way. Like I remember when I was in Kansas City, I was working for someone, and he even told me I was working at a restoration place. We did like Mustangs and Camaros and old cars and shit. And I remember he told me one time that the boss, he's like, you're not an Indian, you're a chief, just because he saw my mentality and the way that that I like to have things around the shop. But I think some people are just destined for that. Like I am not anymore. I'm not a person that I couldn't go back to working for someone anymore. I mean, you've like, say something horrible happened, you don't have your business anymore. Could you go back and work a 9 to 5, or would you just like start over and start another business?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could probably go back to a 9 to 5, but it'd have to be something where I could truly like doing every day.
Right. And even in my last job, I was like, I mean, there was times when the body shop owner, he'd just leave for 2 weeks at a time because he knew that I could handle everything. I'd just freaking run the shop, you know?
Yeah.
Damn, those employees are so freaking hard to find, though. I'm at the point right now in my business where it's like I'm busting my ass trying to keep up with stuff, and I need an employee.
Yeah.
But how do you find someone that's going to have, the biggest thing is, like, I'm super anal about shit. I know you are. Boxes as well. Like, how are you going to find someone that you know, is as anal about your shit as you are and cares about your business as much as you do? You know, it's just,
yeah, it's hard.
It's not going to happen. It freaking sucks. So when you dropped out, did you have people telling you that you were nuts and that, you know, what the hell are you doing? You're never going to make it. Did you hear that from anybody?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the day I came home from signing papers that I dropped out, I mean, my dad told me I wasn't going to do anything in life, and he gave me 2 weeks to move out. So
really?
Yeah.
Damn. That's rough. So did you have anybody, did you know what you were going to do when you dropped out? Like, did you have a plan, or you were just like, this isn't for me, I'm out for now?
I wouldn't say I had a plan right away, but I knew that I wanted to have my own business detailing. I just didn't know how long it would take before I would initially do it. So.
Right. So why detailing? Is that just something that you've enjoyed? So
yeah, it was always pretty much a side hustle since I was like 16 when I got my first car. It was always just something I did for friends and family, and just became a weekend thing that I always did.
Right. I find it interesting because one of my least favorite things in the body shop was washing a car.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I just hate it. It just is not for me. But it's awesome that, like, so many, like you. I mean, obviously you wouldn't have started a business if you didn't enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, and photography. Box is obviously a photographer. I fucking hate photography. Like, there's nothing worse to me than laying a gun down and trying to get a good freaking picture of it. Yeah. You know, I just hate it. So it's like, it works out good because I'm just like, I got a gun that I need a good photo of. I'm like, hey, Box, come handle this shit for me, you know?
Yeah.
But I just find it fascinating how some people can love stuff, and I just absolutely hate it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, part of that, I think, is in the body shop when we're washing cars, we're just washing it so all the panels don't look like total shit.
Yeah, that's true. Like, appease the customer.
Yeah, but whereas his work, he's getting down, he's detailing, he's
right.
making everything just look absolutely perfect, which that I'm all about. Yeah, spraying a car down, power washing it, and mitting it down and spraying it off again. That's no fucking fun. But
right,
getting down in the nitty gritty of it, the details of it, I could see that being enjoyable.
Yeah,
that's what I'm about. The details.
Yeah, that's true. Did you have people that supported you then too in it, and you know, told you were doing the right thing? Or
I wouldn't say I had somebody tell me I was doing the right thing when I dropped out, but I had my grandparents supporting me, and they tried helping me, you know, figure out what I was going to do next. And obviously I just started working for the time being until I figured out what I wanted to do.
Right. Yeah. I saw an interesting quote the other day, something about you can't learn to drive a car sitting still, so just freaking start it. Like, I mean, how is that kind of how you approach your detailing business? You just like, well, I'm not really sure what's going on yet, but I'm going to start this little side hustle in this business and just roll with it? Or how did you get a start in it really?
Yeah, so how I started doing it on the side anyways, it was just friends and family, and then it just grew into random people I didn't know just dropping cars off.
Yeah.
And then what pushed me to obviously quit my job was the fact that I had about 20 cars that needed done on my schedule. And 20 cars with a full-time job just wasn't happening.
Right.
So I sat down and talked to my grandpa one night, and I told him, I was like, I think it's time I need to go out on my own and see what I can do. And he told me to do it.
Right.
So I gave my 2 weeks at my job, and from there I just started working every day on my own. That's
pretty similar to the way that happened for me. Like, I started doing guns on my own, just friends and family and shit. And then it was, you know, I had enough that I could take that leap too.
Yeah.
So where were you working at that point when you decided to go out on your own? Was that Woodhouse?
I actually left Woodhouse because there was a guy that put up a car wash in Sioux City. He wanted me to run it, so I took that job and I ran that for about 6 months.
Okay.
Before I decided to quit. And he actually helped me too. He approved that he wanted me to start my business.
Really?
Yeah, and he owned that car wash.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he was really cool.
Because a lot of people, like, they'll they'll find a good employee like yourself, and damn it, I don't want to lose them. So they'll, like, you'll ask them about going out on your own. They're, I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think you'll be able to make it. And they try to scare you away and
you should stay here and make money for me.
Right.
Yeah. He was really cool. He owns 3 or 4 businesses, and he's an entrepreneur himself. So I think he saw that in me, and he wanted me to push for that. So
yeah. Did you get any good advice from him or other entrepreneurs going into this, or since you've started? I mean,
yeah, him and a few guys, they were all kind of similar, just different wording. I'd say it was just you need to put your head down and do it, and just don't be wasting your time or thinking that you need days off. You just need to keep working, because if you're not finding work or doing work, then you're not going to last long.
Right. That's one thing I've noticed too, is like when I tell people that I work for myself, and like just yesterday, 2 days ago, I was talking to somebody about it. One of my neighbors actually. Oh, that's awesome, man. You work for yourself. You can just, hey, I don't want to work today. I don't have to work today. You can just do whatever you want. I'm like, bro.
I mean, yeah, you can, but
there's a lot of mentality like that, though.
Oh, yeah.
People think we have it easy.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it does not freaking work like that. Yeah, I don't have a boss, but I have customers.
Yeah.
Like, that want their shit. Like, and part of my, I don't like making people wait, so I'm not going to just take a freaking day off and to myself and do whatever the hell I want, It don't work that way.
Yeah, I'm not taking a day off unless I'm in pain or hurting. So.
Right. I was that way even when I was, working for people, though. There was it was a long, long stretch that I didn't miss a single day of work.
Oh, yeah.
And my buddy, actually, the body shop that I used to work at, he ended up buying it. And now he was struggling getting a good employee in there. And he's like, the last one, he was just missed like freaking, he'd go like a 2-week stretch. He didn't miss a day of work, and then he'd miss a day or 2 or 3 or whatever. And I'm just like, man, I worked for like 2 years there and didn't miss a single freaking day.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that mentality, though. Like, there's the I want to work mentality. I'm going to do whatever it needs to be done, whatever needs to be done mentality. And then there's like you were talking about it earlier, just the half-ass, just bare minimum. I'm just going to scrape by and do whatever I need to do to not get fired.
Yeah. And I've noticed other type of people that live paycheck to paycheck, but are the same people that complain.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yep.
100%. I could not agree more with you there. I think too, like, I've been doing a lot of thinking on, like, well, I'll just say it. Like, I don't think we were meant to be on this earth and work a 9-to-5 job that we freaking hate. I mean, think about it. Like, say you're 8 to 5. That's 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. You spending another third of your life literally sleeping. This isn't counting weekends. But so it almost 2/3 of your life just gone into something. So you get to spend a third of your life actually doing something that you want to be doing and enjoying it. And a lot of the time, you'll be like Sunday nights. My girlfriend hates Sunday nights. Oh, I got to go to work the next, tomorrow. So they're essentially ruined too. Like, you're not enjoying it anymore. It's like, I don't feel like we're meant to live like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I really don't. We need, that's the quandary, though. It's like, we need those people working jobs that nobody wants to do in order to maintain this lifestyle, of society that we have.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to live like that, but I think if there's always going to be people that will, though. I mean, just because
There's no drive.
It's the easy way out. Absolutely. There's no drive.
But even owning a business, there's too many people out there that couldn't do it just because how their mindset is, and
oh no,
people can't take the stress and all that stuff.
Oh, this is too hard.
Right. Yeah.
But most people also have, they think they can go to work and get by. You can't just show up to work when you own a business and just kind of do whatever you want because you're not getting paid.
Right.
You're getting something done.
Right.
A lot
exactly.
of people don't understand that.
Yeah. I would say that's like, I even realize it in my mentality about money, about a lot of things as compared to my friends that just work a 9-to-5 job. Like their mentality on certain things is so completely different than mine. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even make sense to me anymore, Yeah, it's nuts. And I think the hardest part for me was, like I said earlier, nobody told you what you had to do. You just got to figure all this shit out, and then you're wearing like 47 hats. Like you're doing accounting, you're doing dealing with customer service, you're doing the actual work and all this shit. Like there's so many things that you have to do that when you're working a 9-to-5 job, it's like, all right, this is your job. This is all you have to do. But for business, it's just like you got to freaking do everything.
Oh yeah.
What would you? I mean, is that like the hardest part for you, or what would you say the hardest part of your starting the business was for you?
So when I first started, like on my own, the hardest part for me was making sure I was doing everything right. So like legal term wise, like making sure my LLC was legit. My grandpa pushed for insurance, obviously, just in case something ever happened. So getting business insurance and shopping for that and making sure I had what I needed to be legit was hard for me. But then what I really didn't want to get into that I needed to know was obviously the tax side of it, like state tax, sale tax, and all that stuff. So to me, that was really confusing, learning that and understanding it, making sure like what I was charging was okay, but also like tax-wise and what the state needs to get out of that too. So
they just changed that up a while ago.
Yeah, it's month to month now,
which pisses me off. Like I barely remembered it to do it quarterly, and a lot of times I didn't. Like, well, I'm backlogged a couple pay time, terms here. I got to go and fix this. Now it's every fucking month.
You know why they did that though? Is they just want the money out of business owners so they can spend it on something else.
Yeah,
give it to Ukraine.
Yeah, it's on the Democratic side of it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. But that shit just grinds my gears. And then every time. Like you're just raking this money in for them, doing it out of the goodness of your heart, giving them money, and then you're like, oh well, I'm not gonna make it on time. Oh well, pay us a big penalty then. Well, fuck you. Like I'm giving you money for free, you dicks. I'm creating revenue for you, and now when I don't file it on time, I bet that's another big thing of it too. They figured out they could get more late fees.
Yeah, by people not doing it. But you have the end of the next month to get it done, but it's still dumb. Like,
oh yeah,
quarterly was easier to me, and I'm not going to pay once a year because that's
freaking
big.
Right? Yeah, I'm the same exact way.
This is kind of off topic, but it reminded me of a fun fact I heard the other day. In 1 year, Blockbuster, they collected $800 million in late fees.
Holy shit!
That's a ton. That's
like
everybody not ever taking their movies back.
That's a lot of money.
That is. Back in Blockbuster's heyday, I bet they collect like $8 in late fees now. There's like I think there's one Blockbuster left, isn't there?
I think it's like the very first one that they leave open or whatever.
It's out. I think it's out in Oregon or Washington or something
I don't
like
know.
that.
I think we talked about that and we were both way off on our guesses.
Do you even, Blair, you're, I don't know, 12, 15 years younger than that. Do you even like remember ever going to a Blockbuster?
No, I don't
bro,
think
you're
I did.
missing out. That was like date night. I'm telling you, man, this was the easiest date night in the world, bro. You just go to get your girl, go to Blockbuster. You spend some time picking out a movie. It was a whole deal. Now it's just like Netflix and chill. You just sit on the couch. You're like, that's not even a date. It doesn't count a date. You know? It was that was great, man. Good times. God, I feel dated now. Oofta.
What year were you born?
85.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated in 04. What year did you graduate?
19.
Jesus.
I was born in 2000.
Oh my. All right. Yeah. Definitely making me feel dated, Blair. Definitely making me feel dated. So back to the kind of the subject at hand. What, at this point, like, what's the most rewarding part of running the business for you?
Rewarding side of it is obviously getting done with, my bigger high-end jobs, but I'd say the best for me is seeing the customer's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of customers that pay their bill, getting their vehicle and leave, which is totally fine because they know they got the service.
Right.
But seeing, some of these people that are just ecstatic about their vehicle and it's never looked this clean, I mean, to me, that really makes me feel good that, I did what they wanted done and
Mm-hmm.
it looks good. So
yeah, I would agree with that. I love it when somebody comes in and I deliver a gun and they just, freak out about it. I think the other part about it for me is the most rewarding part is when I'm done at the end of the day and I close up shop and it's like I'm building something for myself. This is mine, and I've done all this, with my own two hands. Whereas like when you're done with a 9-to-5 job and you close, like you lock up, like that's somebody else's business.
yeah, I feel that.
That's not your name on the door. You're getting nothing from that other than the 9-to-5 paycheck. And yeah, this isn't to say that there's anything wrong with working for someone else. I hope nobody's taking it that way. Ultimately, though, I think, as I talked just a little bit before, like it should be 100% about fulfillment. Like if whatever job you're doing, you're happy with, and you can, at the end of the day, you get that feeling of fulfillment, and you're happy with what you're doing. That's what matters.
Yeah, that is. And
I think the three of us here, we get that from being out on our own and paving our own way. But if the 9-to-5 job is for you, hell yeah, man, more power to you. I think
for sure.
I think, Box, what did you say? What would be your rewarding? What do you like best about being out on your own?
I don't know. All of it. Not having to listen to someone else. Like he said, the feeling good, finishing a job. You really got to stop clicking that pen, man.
Sorry, it's a new pen. I'm pretty enamored with it.
I know. No, I love finishing a job and being able to step back and look at it and be like, that looks pretty fucking good. That's a good feeling. And then, like you guys were talking, when you hand something to a customer and they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. It's always a little disappointing when you do something really like you feel you're like, oh, this is some of my best work I've done. Then you hand it to the customer and they're like, cool, thanks.
Right.
I'm always a little disappointed in that. I'm like, oh, come on, man, that's really impressive stuff.
I hate that. The other day I was on the phone with. There's just some people like that though. Like I was on the phone with this guy, and I was literally bored to tears, even having a conversation with him. Like I could not wait to get off the phone. And he called me like 2 or 3 times, asking different questions. I just wanted to shoot myself in the face. He was just one of the most boring people in the world to talk to. It was just a monotone, and he asked a question, and this is all he'd say, and it's like
exactly where the question is going, and
he just keeps talking. It's like that guy in Office Space. Do you have my do you have my stapler? Oh my God! Like I could not wait to get off the phone with him. And those are the same type of guys that like when you do this freaking amazing piece of art for them, and you hand it to them, they're like, yeah. Thank you, great, and they just pay you your money and they're out the door. It's like, bro, like do you like it? Do you hate it? Like I would prefer like if you didn't like it, tell me it fucking sucks. Like I don't like this. This is not what I want. And maybe they're just like that though. Like those, yeah, I feel you, man.
I don't know, but I think I would be one of those customers. I kind of. I'm lacking 100%. in the enthusiasm department.
The same with the phone calls. I'm not gonna
jump up and down or something.
100%.
Like,
now that I think about it, you're one of those guys that on the phone calls. Like I'll call him up and be like, "Yeah,
I'm just not excited to talk to you at all." Right?
Oh man, you are mind-numbingly boring to talk to on the phone because
sweet,
like
sweet. Only to you.
I hope so. I hope so. Because he relays like the bare minimum. It's like a yes or no, or you know, just the bare minimum of what he has to say to get the conversation over with. It's horrible, box. Horrible.
So Blair, you mentioned earlier working on higher end stuff. What's the most expensive vehicle you've detailed so far?
A few weeks ago, I was detailing in Sioux City for these guys that came up from Missouri, and one was a Lamborghini, one was a Jaguar F-Type, and then one was a Corvette Z06.
Nice.
So I mean, the Lamborghini was obviously the most exotic car that I've cleaned.
I would say. What'd you do to it? Did you just a wash and wax, or?
Yeah, it was basic wash and wax outside, and then a quick vacuum on the inside.
So you didn't have to like buff it or anything. That would have been like.
That'd be stressful.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all three of those cars, those guys came up. They're all ceramic coated already.
Okay.
But yeah.
Do you ever worry? I don't know how the ceramic coating works, but do you got to like buff a car before you do it? Like, do you worry about like burning through edges and shit ever?
I don't, because I don't use rotary.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, you know that anybody that uses rotary knows it burns a lot faster. So I don't worry about it, because you gotta sit for a long time for me to want to burn through something unless it's been repainted.
Okay.
But for me, I don't worry about that. Generally, I can tell right away if it's factory paint or not. So
right. So you're using like a random orbit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've never worked with one of those. I suppose it would definitely lessen the stress of burning through.
Burning, and you get, with that forced rotation, you get marring in the paint, and generally rotary doesn't finish as well as an orbital because of that. Okay. So that's why I don't like using rotary. It doesn't finish very well.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I did see you posted I follow your Facebook page. I did see you posted that Lambo and shit. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. How'd you get hooked up with those guys?
So they posted on a Sioux City page looking for a detailer that would come to wherever they needed to be, which they were saying at the Hard Rock. But I was tagged like 40 times. But there was obviously other people that were tagged, because there's many of them in Sioux City. Yeah. Which I didn't think about. I mean, if they message me, they message me. I don't push for stuff like that. I'm not going to go out of my way and message him, show him my business, because right. I mean, he saw I was tagged plenty of times. And like 2 weeks before they showed up, he messaged me. He's like, hey, we're going to go with you to detail our stuff if you have time. I'm like, all right, sounds good. And they're like, don't worry, we already went through all the detailing pages on Facebook, and you had the nicest stuff.
Hell yeah.
So I was like, that's pretty cool.
That makes you feel pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And the fact that, everybody is tagging you, I mean, lets you know that you're doing something right. That makes a guy feel pretty good when somebody recommends your shit.
Yeah, I get tagged quite a bit, and it's pretty nice to see that people actually recommend me.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes you feel like you're doing something right.
Oh yeah.
Damn right.
Did they jump up and down when they saw the finished product?
No, like what he was talking, they were the most monotone people.
Right.
Like, they came out, I initiated the handshake, we chatted for a minute, and they left, and that was the end of it. For both nights it was like that, and, he messaged me after they left and said, everything was good and that they'd use me again. Cool. But they weren't, the ecstatic people that you would hope to see.
Right. Well, I'm sure they, they've probably been rich for a while and had those cars, and like, just it is what it is. Those cars probably weren't near as exciting to them as they were to you.
Yeah. I would which bet. Was fine. I mean, to them, I was probably just a detailer, cleaning their cars, which is okay. But yeah, it was still really cool. Absolutely.
What's the? I asked you a little bit ago. What's the best piece of advice that you've been given? What's the one thing, the biggest thing that you've learned on your own, like just working on your own?
So when I started versus now, that's changed a lot, because when I first started, I was working for me, and I'm at the point where I work for my business. So like, I want to do what's best for my business at the end of the day. So, most people think my job. So like, if I have a $500 job, most people would say, oh, you made $500 today. My business made $500 today. That's not what I brought home.
Right.
So And I'm at the point with my business where I'm trying to grow more, into tools and, just building my shop into everything I need.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'd say some of my best advice was, you're working for yourself and remember that, but also you just need to keep your head up and keep working.
Right. Yeah. You said something a little bit just there that, you made $500, but that's not like your bring home. That's what goes into the business. I think a lot of people people have that employee mindset. Like a lot of guys will come to me and I do like laser engraving and shit. And say some simple job comes in the shop. I'm like, well, that's $60. And he's like, bro, that took you like 10 minutes. You charging me $60 for that? Yeah. You know how much that freaking laser engraver costs? Thousands and thousands. You're not paying for the 10 minutes of my time. You're paying for the massive investment that I made previously and the learning curve.
Yeah.
That I had to, that was there for me to learn how to use this equipment. Like, I don't think people don't realize that.
Oh yeah, and like that job I did up in Sioux Falls last week. I mean, just for me to show up, I probably had at least $1,000 in tools and products, not counting my truck insurance, gas, my time, none of that.
Right.
So
absolutely.
It's a lot that people don't even understand.
There's an old story that I remember that I kind of like about a ship. It's broken down in the port or whatever, and these guys can't figure out how to fix it. They call in all these boat mechanics, and nobody can figure it out. Nothing's working. Then they call in another guy. He comes in, looks at things around, checks everything out, and he hits the engine in the right spot with a hammer, and he charges them $100,000. And they're like, you can't charge us that much. This is all you did was hit something with a hammer. He's like, you're not paying for the work that I did. You're not getting charged for the hammer. You're getting charged for me knowing where to use the hammer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One of the biggest things I've been seeing lately is there's a shirt that's being sold right now that's going around that says, "Pay for my experience, not my time."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Definitely. I would say that's one of the biggest things in your industry, box, is like, and I'm even guilty of it, like not realizing how much, to me, like I take a picture of a gun on the floor, and I got to have you do it. And then, you're going to charge. Well, yeah, like you've spent years and years and years perfecting your craft. Like, whereas I just went and bought a Pixel because they have a nice camera on them. So like, there's a big, do you deal with that a lot in your industry? Like telling people the price of something and they're shocked?
I don't know. Nobody's vocalized it to me. I think a lot of people just ignore me once I tell them the price. They're like, "Oh, okay,
shit.
Never mind. Not even going to bother replying to that."
Right.
I get that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I get a lot of that. But then I also get a lot of people that, you tell them the price and you're like, "Oh, bro, that's it?" I'm like, fuck,
yeah,
I should have charged you double, It's like, yeah. So that was one of the hardest things for me, still is valuing your work. That's difficult for me, and I don't even like when we have a huge job, like some big ass job that's more than I usually charge everybody. I hate telling people the price. Like, I'm getting better at it, but that was always tough for me. It's like, well, just valuing my work, and yeah, you're goddamn right. This is worth that amount of money. That's difficult. But up until this point, would you change anything about the way that you did things, or I don't
know if I'd change anything. I think I did a lot of good things starting out. One of the biggest things I had to do when I started was obviously I needed money, and I was told obviously not to go to a bank to get a business loan.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold one of my cars to get money to buy an enclosed trailer,
mm-hmm.
and wrap it, my decaling. So I think I did a lot of good things. I'd say one thing I wish I would have done was maybe find a shop a little sooner, because I think I would have got a little bit more business off the bat just by having a stationary place.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started, I was mobile every day, so I was traveling. So,
right. How long did you do that for before you got your shop?
from May to November 1st.
Okay.
I was traveling every day.
Yeah, that'd be hard to do around here in the winter, detailing shit.
Yeah, so I moved into my shop at perfect time because if I wanted, I probably would have just obviously taken the winter off and, you know, found a job to get me through the winter and then hit it hard again in the spring and then find a shop.
Right.
Where is your shop?
It's in Kingsley.
It'd be
Is that down by Case?
Yeah.
In the
right
those storage buildings? Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
He's got the big one on the south end.
Okay.
They're building some right across there. Some, what are they, like 20 by 40 or something like that? Just storage units?
Yeah, they're 12 wide by 40 long.
Oh, okay.
With 12-foot doors.
Who's building them?
Billner.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
That's who owns all the stuff. Who's building them is Alan and Tim Rees.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. What is where do you want to be in like 5 years? What's your plan? Do you have a 5-year plan?
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot. It sucks how the economy is right now, though, because my goal is to have a shop house. So that's really where I want to be.
Me too, bro. Me too.
But, I mean, when you're looking at like $200 a square foot to put up a building, that's not like counting like furnished and stuff like that. It's pretty hard to think about.
Yeah.
But 5-year plan with how everything's going right now is I hope to be in a little bit bigger shop. I'm starting to run out of space. I just want more comfort for pulling vehicles in and stuff.
Right. I get that. I'm kind of in the same ballpark or in the same deal right now. As I need more freaking space, but like where I am, it's freaking nice. Like being able to walk out my back door and go to work.
Oh yeah.
Like, and plus there's so many other benefits too, like tax benefits from having your business at home, and you know, just I don't want to freaking move anywhere else, you know. And then you go somewhere else, and then you have, you know, your rent and other utilities and all that shit too, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, man, I think I'm gonna put that off just as long as humanly possible. But you know, it's gonna have to happen at some point for me to grow. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna stay there as long as I can.
Yeah, for sure.
So is your plan? Are you gonna eventually want to grow more and have your own employees, or do you just want to keep this doing your own little thing?
I would say the end goal would be obviously having an employee, but how I see it right now, I just want to be even ideal, because I'm not going to find someone that wants to be the same mindset as me, and it would be hard getting someone in there, especially how young I am, trying to find someone that wants to work every day, because they're probably going to be older than me.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that worries me, is being a younger boss, that it could lead to issues. So
yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree, but I think too, it's just kind of how you're, like, if they respect you and how you carry yourself. I mean, you're a professional guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just how you carry yourself and how you treat them. I think it would. You're right though. You would just have to find the right person, and be kind of difficult to.
If I were to hire somebody though, they'd be doing a lot of the basic stuff, like the washing, the prep work, you know, the interior detailing.
Right.
I would be wanting to be the one that does the paint corrections, the coatings, the PDR, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I need to, and I got a part-time guy and one super part-time guy, but I need someone that I can depend on to, you know, paint guns, like the simpler shit. And that's what I would love, is somebody that's doing like the super simple jobs, and then I just get to do the fun shit, you know, the crazy custom stuff and the things like that. But you know, it's like you said, it's freaking hard to find somebody.
So have you always had the work ethic that you have, and where'd that come from?
Oh yeah, I was pretty young when I started working, and I don't speak to my dad anymore, but I would say that my dad had a big part in my work ethic, because he told me at a very young age, if I wanted nice stuff, that I better learn how to work. And I like nice stuff. And I don't know. Not that I like spending money, I just like having nice stuff, so it costs money.
Right.
So I started working around, you know, the age of 10, because my grandparents farmed, so I was always out there helping them and penny pinching at a young age, putting all my money in the bank account so I could have a nice car.
Right.
But yeah, ever since then, started working and hustling on the side, and it just always grew from there.
What was your first car?
It was a 2014 Chevy Cruze LTZ RS.
Fucking 2014 is the first car. And I was thinking, it's going to be like a 1990 something, but no, I'm just old as balls.
Yeah.
You know what mine was? 1988 Grand Prix, a Grand Am, excuse me. 2-door, 5-speed.
Yeah.
Oh, hell, that car was so fun, man. Just little Ricky. I think it was like a 2.4 cylinder or something.
Yeah.
But damn, that thing would scoot.
Oh,
It was,
yeah.
and it was so fun driving that 5-speed, man. I miss that.
Pretty much the exact opposite of my first car. The old 89 Bonneville.
Oh yeah,
Things are a fucking boat with a couch in the back seat.
wasn't that Grandma's car?
That was Grandpa's. Yeah, it still had Grandpa's ashes in the tray when I got it.
Grandpa's like cigarette.
Yeah,
ashes.
cigarette ashes.
Cigar. No,
not-
he smoked a pipe.
Yeah, that's what it
He
was.
smoked a pipe, not like
tobacco.
his. You know, we didn't put his ashes in the car.
No, I had him hanging from the rearview mirror.
Not weird at all. Oh man, that car though, that little 5-speed, and it was weird because like I learned to drive the 5-speed just the other day. I got in. I can't remember what truck it was in, but I freaking pushed in the clutch. Like there's nothing there, bro. There's no fucking clutch there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, where the hell did that come from? You know, I haven't driven a 5-speed and well, probably since I worked at the body shop. It's been 6 years, 5-6 years since I've even driven something like that. Like,
Yeah.
where the hell did that come from? I thought that was pretty weird. It's pretty strange how the brain works.
You're just stupid, Sam.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's probably part of it. That's all right though.
Right time to buy a manual.
I do. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. I would love to have a little Ricky racer car to shitbox around in. And I mean, I like nice stuff too, but man, there's something to be said for just like a piece of shit car like that.
Yeah, I
you know.
picked one up last week, actually.
Did you? What'd you get?
It's a 99 Saab.
Ooh.
95.
Hell yeah.
It's been sitting in a field for about 6 years. Which is, I used to have an R beater. I had a 95 Park Avenue that was sat in a field for 6 years. And that was my uncle. He said, yeah, if you pull it out, you can have it. So I pulled it out. And this car the same way.
Heck yeah.
He's like, yeah, you can have it if it moves. It moved.
2-door or 4-door?
It's a 4-door.
Okay. Heck yeah.
Got a fart can on it.
No, this one's all stock, thankfully.
Have you ever gotten a job where you show up to it and you're like, why are you paying money to have this piece of shit detailed?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I have stopped doing stuff though, like minivans. I will not do a minivan anymore.
Good call.
It's either they're trashed and they'll spend the money, or they're like mediocrely dirty and then they complain about the price.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just like there's no in between. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Like the old people that have vans, I'll make an exception because I know they're not dirty because only the front seat's used.
Right.
But these people that have kids that only want to spend like $200, like
Yeah.
no,
They're stomping M&Ms into all the cracks and crevices. And,
the seats are stained with like
yeah.
Jello, and you don't know what to do.
Right.
That was one of the biggest things I learned in business too, was the joy of saying no.
Yeah, I've had a hard time doing that, and I'm starting to get to that point where it's okay now.
It's difficult when like especially when you're first starting off, you know, and you feel like you need that job.
Which is fine. That's how I was.
Right.
Because if you're doing cars that you don't want to do, you're still having people talk about you, which is what you want.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah. But there were, and I don't know, there was just something like I kept doing these jobs that I fucking hated. And it's like, I don't want to be doing this. Why? Like, this is the reason I started this job and started this business, is so I don't have to do shit I hate.
Yeah.
So why am I accepting these jobs that I don't want to be doing? And then like, boy, I can just say no. It was like a revelation. And I don't get that very often. Like, there's very few guns that I'll turn down that I don't want to do. But every now and then you run across that one, and you're like, no, bro, I'm not touching this.
Yeah.
And I had one last year, I think it was. This dude calls me up telling me he's got like this, he's sunk like $10,000 into this precision rifle. And I think he tried to have, what'd he say? He had somebody else Cerakote it, and then he tried to paint it himself. So it was a fucking mess, just a disaster, you know. And he brings it in. I'm like, no promises. I will look at it. And he brings it in and showing me all this stuff. And I'm no, bro, I don't want to do this. No. And Melissa was in the shop at that point, and she can vouch for this. I bet I told that guy no 4 to 5 times. And he's like, bro, he literally almost got down on his knees and was begging me. I was like, I broke down. I was like, fine.
You spineless
I
bitch.
know. But actually that job went really well. And I ended up making good money off of it, and it wasn't as horrible as I thought.
Yeah.
But like I was standing my ground for a long time, and like it was like getting to the point where I was like, this is like embarrassing. He's like, please, man, please, I'm begging you. I was like, oh, fine, fuck. But yeah, I would say the joy of saying no is probably the best thing I've learned in business so far.
Yeah, I had an issue with that about a month ago with a local farmer. I told him that I didn't want to do it because the truck was too far gone on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, clean it up because we're selling it. We want it to look good. I was like, it's not going to look good.
Right.
Because it was a fully loaded truck, but it was like a 2012, so it was trashed, and the seats were like cut up and ripped, and they were leather.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
you can't do nothing with that.
Yeah, and it was just so bad. And I spent like 2 hours on it because it doesn't matter how much time I'm going to spend on it. It's not going to look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they weren't happy with it. I was hearing backlash about it, which I don't get ever complained about. So obviously it sucked hearing that he was complaining about it, but it was whatever.
Yeah, and you're gonna run into those people.
Oh yeah.
Anytime you're in business, I think.
Yeah, we encountered those a lot at SS. We're like, man, this is not going to turn out good. It's going to fail. I like to fill my rocker panel full of spray foam and duct tape, and we're like, it's going to look like shit in 2 weeks, man. They're like, well, just do it anyways. It'll be fine. Then they get angry when it fails 2 weeks later, and we're like, we told you. We laid it out pretty clear. This is not a good idea.
I sold I think it was like a 2000 something Honda Civic 4-door when I was in Kansas City, and it was starting the training. He started to slip one night when we were coming home, and it was the girl that I was dating, and we pretty much just let it sit, and she went. It was time for a new car anyway. You know, she went and we got a new car, and that thing sat there, and we ended up selling it. And the guy came and test drove it, and I told him straight face to face, man to man. I says, listen, last time we drove this, I did feel the tranny slipping a little bit. There's some issues with it. Okay, yeah, no problem. But he drove it, and it was fine, and he didn't think nothing of it. This car got 17 miles down the road, and the fucking tranny dropped. Just done. He called me. Oh, he was fucking pissed. I was like, bro, I told you that the tranny had issues. Like, I'm not, like, even if I could give you your money back, which I can't because we did the deed at a bank. We sold it at the bank there, and my girlfriend worked at the bank.
You did the deed.
Yeah, that was probably a bad way of phrasing that. We sold it at the bank, and she deposited the money right away and paid bills with it, and like 3/4 of it was gone. So, and this was, you know, back in my early 20s. I was broke as shit, you know, at that point. So, like, bro, the money's gone. Like, even if I wanted to, which I don't, because I told you, like, I can't give it back to you. But there's people, I guess the moral of that story is there's going to be people pissed off, like, you know, no matter what you do. He had kind of a right to be pissed off, I guess, maybe a little bit. But I did tell him, you know, what is a guy supposed to do?
Used car sold as is. I mean,
damn right. You're damn right.
Didn't buy from a dealer.
That's exactly right. What is, like, I did a lot of thinking, like, when I was first starting my business, like, oh, you know, like, I thought that I was going to hit a certain point and I was going to feel like I made it. Like, oh, you know, I made it. You know, I've been in business, let's see, full time. It'll be 5 years now, coming up on the 1st. And I don't feel like I've made it or anything like that. But what does, like, made it or success, I guess, mean to you?
I mean, success to me, business-wise, I'd say is where your business has financially stable, where the fact you could maybe take a few weeks off your business and you wouldn't have to worry about what your bank account looks like or paying bills.
Yeah.
But also with that is having enough business where you're always constantly, like, booked out. You know, I don't know what it is for you, but I mean, for me, if I'm booked out a month, I mean, that's pretty good for me
Mm-hmm.
that people are waiting that long.
Yeah.
But I'd say having enough money in your bank account where you can pay your bills like almost to a year out, I'd say is pretty good for someone, in their first 5-10 years.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Box, what does success look like to you? Where do you want to be? Like, where are you going to be when you finally feel like you've made it?
I don't know. That's something I've been thinking about lately. I don't know if I'll genuinely ever feel like I've actually made it. Right. And I don't know why. So I'm like, I'll never ever be like, maybe if I was someone actually told me I was the best in the world to ever do it, then I'd be like, oh, yeah, I made it. But I don't know. I'm always going to feel like there's someone out there doing things better than me, and there's always going to be things that I can do better and more stuff for me to learn and more money for me to make. So I don't know. It's hard for me to classify myself as a true success, I guess.
I think that's probably a good thing, though, because like if you feel like I'm the best at what I do, and I've made it, and there's nothing for me to learn, like
you'll decline.
I think that's a very dangerous thing to think too.
Yeah, because if you get that mentality, then you're not gonna like work hard again, or
right.
You're just gonna either stay like level-headed or you're gonna go down.
Yeah, there's no drive for you to continue improving.
Because if you're at the top, someone else is trying to get there.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get there.
Yeah, I get that a lot, and like I'm in a lot of Cerakote Facebook groups and stuff, and kind of I know some of the biggest names in the industry, and some of the shit, and even some of the shit that like the smaller guys put out, that unheard of guys, like stuff that they're doing. You're like, holy shit! Like, look at that's freaking dope. Like, damn, I got to step my game up, man. And I think that drive is ultimately that's a great thing. And if you lose that, that's probably
why a lot of businesses fail in the first 5 years,
right?
Or in the first 2 years, I'd say is why they fail.
Yeah,
you get that drive off the bat, and then it just kind of dwindles.
I ran across where the hell is that stat that I ran across? It was talking about how many businesses fail. It was like one in what the hell is it? See if I can find it here. 30 only 30% of businesses remain in operation by their 10th year. 20% go under in their first year, and 30% go under in their second year. So there was also another one I found that I can't remember what it is, but that's a lot of freaking businesses that go under just in their first year.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been higher than that, actually.
I expected higher also.
And it very well may be. This is just some stats I found on this random ass blog. 20% go under, 30%. So 20% go under in their first year and 30 in their second. So they're saying 50%, only 50% make it through their first 2 years.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like.
Which I could see that for sure.
Right.
Because I think why a lot of businesses fail, they run into money issues.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what type of business it is, like people don't understand the overhead.
Oh yeah.
And they either run themselves into bank debt, or they just run themselves out of money where they can't pay their own bills, so they quit it and get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have no idea what they have to do. And then they start it and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
shit, there's a lot involved with this.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you don't get paid until your business has money in it.
Oh yeah, I worked. I was working for. It was over a year before I took any money at all out of Shyworks.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get paid a dime for it. Did you take out? You said you sold a car to fund it. Like, did you take out any loans or anything?
I mean, my truck loan is like my personal loan, but
Sure,
I
right.
still write it off on my business technically, but it
Yeah.
comes out of my own account. But technically, my business doesn't have any debt. It's debt free.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I was the same way, and I've invested thousands upon thousands into it now. But, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned people having money issues, and yeah, when you start a business and you start off your business by going and getting a massive freaking loan,
Yeah.
like
You're
that's
digging
just
a hole.
yeah, that's asking to fail, because now you have to make this month, this much every single week or every single month just to pay that stupid freaking loan.
Yeah.
Whereas you just do it scraping by, and whenever you got a little bit of money, invest it back into the business.
And that's what I did. I I was obviously into cars and trucks and motorcycles, so I had a lot of equity sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I started my business, I had 2 trucks, 2 cars, a motorcycle, and another bike. So I sold my Harley and I sold my car to fund my trailer and, you know, some upfront costs like my LLC stuff and stuff like that where I needed the money.
Right.
But that's how I pretty much got started, so I didn't have to have a loan.
Yeah.
And then when I bought my truck, I just wanted a newer truck that, I mean, I could use and, you know.
Well, and too, like that's almost like in your line of work, it's almost a necessity. I mean, if you have a business detailing and you want to go towards the nice cars and you roll up in a freaking 95 shit box,
Yeah.
you know, people are going to be like, ugh.
And some people could argue with that, and I don't care what they say, because if you got nice stuff, you probably do good work.
Yeah.
Because I hold myself to a higher level, so what I look like is what my business looks like.
Absolutely. And if you don't have, I mean, if you roll up and your truck is filthy, and you know, and you open the door and a bunch of cans fall out and it just looks like shit, you know, they're not going to have any expectation of you doing nice work.
Yeah, and like when I was younger, I had that Park Avenue I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of those farmers, I would just load up my Buick, you know, when I was 18, 16 years old, and I would drive that out to these farms because it was dirty and dusty, and I was doing basic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But even today, I mean, I got a newer truck, and obviously it looks good, but it's not always clean because I do drive a lot of gravel, and I drive a lot every day.
There's a stat here I see. This is just a random another one I ran across, but 58% of small businesses in the U.S. start with less than 25 grand, and 1/3 start with less than 5,000. I started with like $8, I'm pretty sure, you know, and I think that's a story for a lot of people, you know. It started at the bottom, and every cent that I got for the first year, just thrown back into business, and it's still that way, you know.
Oh yeah.
I'm not living a lavish lifestyle or anything, you know.
Oh, no.
I've taken enough for what I need to pay my bills, and the rest of it gets invested back into the business.
I'm the same way. Like once a month, I pretty much take out what I need to pay my bills, and the rest stays in the business.
Right.
If I got a bunch of money from that month, I'm either trying to invest into something that I need to either improve my business, into like tools or buffers or something like that. Otherwise, it'll sit in there until I'm ready for something new.
What's like, do you have your eye on like some big ticket item that you're really wanting, or?
I'm starting to look for a new toolbox already. I'm growing out of my toolbox.
Yeah.
Because in the last 6 months, I've been getting a lot of tools just because it improves my business. But
well, you got to, like, in that line of work. I mean,
yeah,
absolutely, you need all sorts of shit.
But I wouldn't say I have a huge ticket item. But like I'd say in like January it was like my PDR stuff because I spent like $5 grand on tools and stuff like that.
Right.
So it was a pretty big leap getting into that for sure right away.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest things too, is like where I was talking a little bit about mentalities as compared to, you know, business owners versus employees. Like there's a lot of times we'll drop, you know, 4 or 5, 10 grand on an item. And it's like, you know, I mean, yes, it's a lot of money, but I mean, that's pretty common nowadays. Whereas like you tell somebody that, like one of your employees or one of your friends that work a 9-to-5 job, I'm like, holy shit, you spent that much on it? It's like, bro, like that's the cost of doing business, man. It is what it is. You need that shit, you know.
Yeah, but if you were to tell someone that they weren't getting paid today and it was going back into their business, they wouldn't do it.
No.
And like for me and you, obviously, maybe you have the same way where you understand that there's a lot of days you don't get paid,
mm-hmm.
and you're just working for your business.
Yeah.
Which mentality-wise, yeah, it sucks to think about, but it's worth it at the end because you get to have that nice stuff or that one new tool that you wanted.
Right.
So
I used to, when I was in Kansas City, I jumped around to several jobs down there. And this one I was working at, his name was Ilya. He was this Russian dude. I think he was 29 at the time, so he was a few years older than me when I was working there. A Russian immigrant, you know, nice dude. And actually, it was funny. I ran across him on Facebook just the other day. I probably hadn't talked to him in 12, 15 years, and his name randomly popped up on Facebook. I'm like, how the f*** fuck does that even work? Because I don't know anybody else that knows you, bro. Like, Facebook, you're freaky. I don't know how the hell that works. But this dude, he was, like I said, he was like 29, and his goal was to retire by the time he was 40. I mean, he was just busting his ass. He had an auto body shop, a little auto body shop, and he was just slaving away and, making his, building his empire. And I should reach out to him and find out, because now he's got to be getting close to 40. Yeah, he would be. I should reach out to him and see if he actually made his goal. And it wouldn't surprise me, because you just run across people that have that drive and that ambition, and you can recognize it. Like, you just know, like you're going to make it, and you're going to, and I think there's just something about a person. Like, if you talk to him for 5 minutes, like the first time I met you and talked to you a little bit and saw your work, like, I know you're going to freaking make it, just because you have that drive and you have that freaking ambition, and you're good at what you do. Like, you just know.
Yeah.
And I think, like, not everybody is meant for business. Not like, there's a lot of people that if you dump them into the business world, said they had to make it on their own, they going nowhere, and that's is not for everybody, but that's okay, I guess. Do you have a piece of advice? Say there's somebody listening to this right now that thinking about stepping out on their own, thinking about doing their own thing, but they're nervous to take the leap. You got a piece of advice for them to encourage them to do it?
I'd say if you're questioning what you're doing versus what you want to do, then you need to go do what you want to do, because if you're already questioning it, that means you're not going to be happy doing what you're already doing. And if you know you can do it, then you're going to have the drive to want to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you need is you have to want to do it. And if you have the experience or, the learning curve to want to do it, then there's no reason you can't.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what I was saying. If you're wanting to do something, if you have that hair, that wild hair, and you're feeling like you want to do this and you're not happy with what you're doing, if there's any possible way you can do it, take that friggin' leap. Just do it. And I think if you don't, like, you're going to look back when you're 60 and damn it, like, just regret it.
Yeah.
And there's so many times I've thought about things, like I wanted to do, like I wanted to start this habit, or I wanted to start doing this particular thing. And I look back and that was 5 years ago. And I'm like, shit, if I would have started that 5 years ago, look where I would have been now. I would have, been this far in it and made it this far, and damn it, and now you kick yourself. I think that's a good advice. Just go out and freaking do it. Find what you love to do and make it worth it, man. Definitely.
I think one of the problems with people that don't start on their own is because they only talk to people that have normal day-to-day lives that work for somebody else.
Yeah.
Because if you're not surrounded by other people that are business owners, the only thing that they're probably going to tell you is it's stressful and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have people saying no that have a normal job, then what do they know more than you about wanting to start on their own?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was my problem. Was I was having my parents tell me that I wouldn't make it. I was only going to last 6 months. That I was going to be a failure.
Mm-hmm.
That I was going to crawl back home.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it didn't happen. But that's what I saw. Like, they didn't support it, and they didn't think being a business owner was, good.
Right. And I'm sure they were never business owners. Clearly.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be rough, man. I commend you for still getting those naysayers, but still getting out on your own and making it happen. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You know what's satisfying though is at SS, there's one of the guys that worked there. For years when we were doing the holsters and shit, he was always asking me, or giving me shit. He's like, "Oh, you quitting your job yet? You making enough money with Shyworks to go out on your own?" And you'd always give me shit. "Oh, you loser! You're not gonna do anything. You're not self-sustaining yet. What a piece of shit!" And I went up there. I stopped up to talk to those guys. It was earlier this year, I think. Maybe it's been close to a year now. And we went out to eat, and he was asking me about it. He's like, "So that photography, that's all you do now?" I'm like, "Yeah, That's all I do. That's my main income. I'm out on my own. And he's still working at that same job that he absolutely despises, that he bitches about every single day. And I was like, this feels pretty good. And it was awesome. He asked me that, and I was like, yep. And he's like, God damn it. I was like, yeah, you. Feels great.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm kind of the outlier here then, because I never had that mentality towards nobody ever had told me that.
No, I just didn't say it in your face.
You probably, yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people that thought that, like,
Oh yeah.
bro, you're gonna fucking paint guns for a living? Like, how can you possibly make a living doing that? But nobody ever told me that. Like, I've been pretty lucky. I mean, we come from a pretty supportive family, you know, and my parents were both business owners. That's how they supported us growing up. Dad, well, the shop downstairs, the wood shop downstairs. So, we came from that. Obviously myself and Box are both business owners. My older brother, he has like 2 or 3 businesses at this point. I think he's selling one.
He's pretty much down to one.
And my oldest sister, she does, you know, a little bit on her own too. So like that's kind of what we come from.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was probably definitely a little bit easier for us than, you know, coming up for you. You know, that's a little bit harder, man.
It was tough.
Yeah. Did you ever take out like student loans and shit?
Yeah, I did have a small student.
Where'd you go? Where were you going to college at?
In Sheldon at NCC.
Oh, me too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I went there for 3 years, and when I came out, like I had 2 degrees. I ended up graduating and shit, but I still only owed like $7,500. You know, it wasn't that much. But one of the things I always regretted, well, I used to regret for a long time, was I didn't go to like Ames or, you know, Iowa and have that 4-year college experience.
Yeah.
But now that it's like, bro, like, no.
Yeah,
like,
I don't regret that.
I used to. I don't anymore.
Yeah.
But because like you'd hear about those stories, like, you know, the parties and all the good times, but there people are graduating after 4 years with tens of thousands of dollars in debt.
6 figures on something.
It's not. Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane. Like, there's something that needs to change in our society, because starting off kids in their life owing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars is a stupid ass horrible way to do things.
Yeah, I don't see how the like kids my age, or maybe just a little bit younger now, that think it's okay to jump right into college, where either they may not even know what they want to do,
right?
But they do it because they know they have to.
Right.
But that have to is a mentality. It's not actually what they have to do.
Absolutely.
But that's where people shame other people. Like, you come out of high school and you start working, you get shamed for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you come out of high school and you go to college but you don't know what you're doing, you're still doing the right thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars to do something that you don't even know if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, like people that take their gen eds their first year. Why are you wasting your time? Go
Right.
get a job.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I'm taking some time figuring out what I want to do. By spending money, go fucking earn money and figure out what you want to do.
exactly, because you're gonna work a job and you're gonna know whether you want to keep doing that or you're gonna change.
Yeah. And I'm not against college for people that know what they want to do. Like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, I want to be a doctor. Shit, you better pony up some money, because that's going to take you a lot of time and a lot of money. But if that's what you know you want to do, hell yeah, chase that dream, do it. But I don't see the point of going to, there's so many freaking people to go to school for gen eds or business or some shit like that. And well, I don't know if that's really I had a buddy that he's paying, this was several years ago, he told me he was paying $800 a month for his student loans, and he's not even doing what he went to school to do.
All the time it happens.
What the fuck, man? Like,
Yeah.
you're just putting chopping your freaking leg off and starting life with a crutch.
Yeah, most of these people that have huge student loans, they're not getting them paid off till they're like 40.
Right?
Oh.
I've heard a lot of that. And like, statistic wise, is an average person doesn't pay off their student loans till like late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah. I paid mine off probably, I don't know now, 4 or 5 years ago. And it was just a small amount, but I was just paying the bare minimum. You know, it was stupid.
Yeah.
I should have been paying a lot more, but back then I didn't worry about finances so much. But it was never real difficult for me. But yeah, I just don't understand starting off life with that crazy amount of money And of course, I'm sure you've heard about the whole student loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
Did you hear? Did you hear the other day they quietly put out this other thing, and they're like, "Oh, so by the way, if you have a loan through a private bank, we can't forgive yours. That's no good." So like, that's going to affect 750,000 people, and that initially they were told that they were going to get $10,000 in loans forgiven, but now they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just kidding. Like that's not actually happening." You imagine how, like, there's going to be so many pissed off people over this entire deal.
Oh yeah.
Because like you, me, Box, paying off our student loans, doing what we're supposed to fucking do, and now we're on the hook for somebody else's. But that's the mentality. Like, it's not my fault. I'm not going to take responsibility for it.
And the people
Somebody
that
else
are
did
like
it.
totally up for this and stuff, and they're like arguments I've seen like on Facebook and social media, it's sad. Like, you know, they just argue that they're relieving stress off people. Like, that's their own stress. Like,
yeah,
why are we taking that now?
yeah, absolutely.
It's sad.
And the biggest thing too is like, we're not big Biden fans on this podcast. He said the other day, like, we're doing this to give some people relief after the pandemic and everything. Bro, nobody's been making student loan payments for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, you're not relieving anybody. Nobody's had to pay this shit.
Yeah,
like,
if they are, that's their own choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was proud of my girlfriend because she has been paying on these since the whole, since it all started. And so it's damn right. Good for you. Just because it's not like they're going to go away. They're still going to be there.
They're going to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. But
one thing I think is funny is they're more than happy to throw out $100,000 loan to an 18-year-old kid to go to college for something that he may not even be doing in 4 years. But if that same kid goes and tried to apply for a business loan or something at 18, they're going to, nah, we're not interested in that.
That makes no sense.
See, and I tried doing that too. Like, I just wanted to see what my personal bank would give me for like a small business loan.
Yeah.
Because I asked for one just to see like what they'd give me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was like a stupid number, like $2,000. And they said, no, we can't give you that. And I said, why? I was like, I've banked with you guys since I was 16. Like, I have credit. Like, my credit scored over 700.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we can't do that. You have to have 2 years of books, and you'd have to have a co-signer and all this other stuff. And I'm like, to get $2,000? But on the other side of that, if I could go get a personal loan, I could get a personal loan for $2,000. But not a business loan.
That doesn't make any sense.
So they don't want to, like, banks don't want to help grow businesses, which I don't understand that either, because you make, that connection with a bank with your business, like, it's going to stay there.
What's the difference in interest rates on a personal loan and a business loan, I wonder?
It's quite a bit higher. It was like 4 times the amount. Like,
it's higher for personal or for business?
For business. Because they told me that I could get it, but I'd have to have a co-signer.
Yeah.
Which I didn't obviously need because I know what my credit score is. And on top of that, it was going to be like 14% or 15% versus a personal loan was going to be like 3%.
It's fucking insane. Like,
yeah.
I honestly, like, I don't think most of the people that are involved in this realize it, but it is just a big freaking scheme, man, because they're giving out loans and they're basically hooking you in for life. They're making a bunch of money off you. And like you said, they won't give somebody a business loan,
But there's no guarantee with a kid going to college that they're going to make all that money. But there's also no guarantee that my business is going to make money either.
Right.
So what's the difference?
Exactly? Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. But it's just, like you were saying, they're glorifying the whole going to college and spending a ton of money and taking out a massive, you get out of college and you celebrate by going and buying a freaking car and putting that, get another massive loan. I was talking to a buddy a while back. It looks like, doing great. Couple nice ass cars, brand new cars, living in a fantastic house. And then he made the comment, man, money's tight. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you putting on a show then? Like, if money's tight, get rid of the stupid fucking car loans, buy a shitty car, and put some money away so money's not tight.
Yeah.
But people don't think that way because that's not the American way. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be looking like you're, badass and doing, great.
You see that all the time, though, with people being house broke, though. Like, that's sad.
What do you mean house broke?
Where they buy a really nice house.
Oh,
They don't piss in their house anymore.
that's. I mean, I got a dog, so that's what I thought.
Yeah, they spend all this money on a house, and they don't drive very nice cars, which, I mean, everyone's got their own deal. You don't need a nice car, but
Right.
you hear them complain about, either payments on a house or they can't go out to eat or all this other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is sad. Like, you shouldn't be house broke and be stuck.
No. We're pretty spoiled, actually, around where we live. Because, I mean, I paid like $65 or something for my house like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And that exact house, like if you went to Sioux City and bought it, it would have been like $150,000, $200,000.
Yeah.
Probably now $250,000, and it's not that great of a house,
Yeah.
But it's nice because around here, like you pay so much less than.
Oh yeah, like between like my shop and my house, like my shop in Sioux City would probably be like $1,400-$1,500 a month.
Right. It's freaking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I mentioned earlier, like I used to be that way, working the 9 to 5, and then you get on the other side of it and you see what the other side of it to the business, owning a business is like, and it's just I could never go back, man. I could never. There's no way. Like once I say it's freedom, but I mean, it's not really freedom.
It's a different type of freedom.
Right. I guess, yeah, you're right. It is now, but I'm working towards that. I have a goal of where I want the business to be that would be, would be freedom, I guess. And at the end of the day, I get to lock up the door and realize that I'm building something for myself. So
yep.
That's pretty freaking awesome.
The freedom thing, I think it's more mentally free than anything.
That's a good
mentally
point.
Freeing.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I guess that's very true. Vox, you got anything to add before we close up the show?
No, I don't. Well, 2 words. Made in America.
I saw that the other day. I was like, oh my. And he said it he repeated it a couple times. It's like, dude, did your handlers not tell you? Did you know what we're talking about? Old Biden that's the other day. He's like, I got 2 words for you. Made in America. This is like a fucking Saturday Night Live skit, man. You could not script it better than that. I love it. I absolutely freaking love it. Made in America. All right. Well, Blair, you got anything to add before we close out the show? Anything else you want to say?
I don't think so.
Well, thanks for being on, man. It was a good show.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Me.
Absolutely. It was a good one. Guys, thanks for making it this far. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out our sponsors, Ballistic Imagery at ballisticimagery.com, as well as Shyworks, shyworks.com. They're both on Facebook as well. Check them out. Also, Blair, where can they find your business at?
I'm on Facebook and also Google. So
Morgan Detailing. So go and check him out. He's in Kingsley, Iowa, and does awesome work. I will vouch for him. He's done several things on my truck actually. So very happy with him. So thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, make sure you're checking us out on major podcast providers for all the rest of the shows, all our past episodes. You can check them out. Also, you can join us live every other Wednesday night at 8:30 Central Standard Time on our Facebook, YouTube, and website, lifeshortlivefree.com. And if you like what we do, if you want to support the show, you can check out our Subscribe Star at Life Short Live Free. And you can contribute to the podcast for less than a cup of coffee, and we'll give you some perks for it. So go and check that out. And Box, am I missing anything?
Nope.
I think that's it. Thanks for sticking around, guys. We appreciate you. Until we talk to you next time, remember, life short, live free. God bless. God bless the United States of America.
Defund the ATF.
Repeal the NFA.